Music is a moral law. It gives soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and charm and gaiety to life and to everything. One of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. Man, a being in search of meaning. For a man to conquer himself is the first and noblest of all victories. Good people do not need laws to tell them to act responsibly, while bad people will find a way around the laws. Democracy is a charming form of government, full of variety and disorder, and dispensing a sort of equality to equals and unequals alike. The first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. To be conquered by yourself is of all things most shameful and vile. At the touch of love, everyone becomes a poet. The beginning is the most important part of the work. Opinion is the medium between knowledge and ignorance. Dictatorship naturally arises out of democracy, and the most aggravated form of tyranny and slavery out of the most extreme liberty. Love is a serious mental disease. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. The empty vessel makes the loudest sound. Courage is knowing what not to fear. Human behavior flows from three main sources: desire, emotion, and knowledge.
There are two things a person should never be angry at: what they can help and what they cannot.
People are like dirt. They can either nourish you and help you grow as a person, or they can stunt your growth and make you wilt and die. We are twice armed if we fight with faith.
A good decision is based on knowledge and not on numbers. This city is what it is because our citizens are what they are. We can easily forgive a child who's afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. The measure of a man is what he does with power. Every heart sings a song, incomplete, until another heart whispers back. Those who wish to sing always find a song. At the touch of a lover, everyone becomes a poet. Thinking the talking of the soul with itself. Honesty is for the most part less profitable than dishonesty. Astronomy compels the soul to look upwards and leads us from this world to another. Better a little which is well done than a great deal imperfectly. When men speak ill of thee, live so as nobody may believe them. Necessity, the mother of invention. He who commits injustice is ever made more wretched than he who suffers it. Ignorance, the root and stem of all evil. Death is not the worst that can happen to men. Science is nothing but perception. Music is the movement of sound to reach the soul for the education of its virtue. Love is the joy of the good, the wonder of the wise, the amazement of the gods. There are three classes of men: lovers of wisdom, lovers of honor, and lovers of gain. Nothing in the affairs of men is worthy of great anxiety. If a man neglects education, he walks lame to the end of his life. There will be no end to the troubles of states or of humanity itself, till philosophers become kings in this world, or till those we now call kings and rulers really and truly become philosophers, and political power and philosophy thus come into the same hands. For good nurture and education implant good constitutions. Wisdom alone is the science of other sciences. There is no harm in repeating a good thing. Knowledge without justice ought to be called cunning rather than wisdom. Life must be lived as play. He who is not a good servant will not be a good master. Let parents bequeath to their children not riches, but the spirit of reverence. The rulers of the state are the only persons who ought to have the privilege of lying, either at home or abroad. They may be allowed to lie for the good of the state. All men are by nature equal, made all of the same earth by one workman, and however we deceive ourselves, as dear unto God is the poor peasant, as the mighty prince. Attention to health is life's greatest hindrance. To prefer evil to good is not in human nature. And when a man is compelled to choose one of two evils, no one will choose the greater when he might have the less. Twice and thrice over, as they say, good is it to repeat and review what is good. Virtue is relative to the actions and ages of each of us in all that we do. The man who makes everything that leads to happiness depends upon himself and not upon other men, has adopted the very best plan for living happily. This is the man of moderation, the man of manly character and of wisdom. Knowledge which is acquired under compulsion obtains no hold on the mind. The wisest have the most authority. Ignorance of all things is an evil neither terrible nor excessive, nor yet the greatest of all, but great cleverness and much learning, if they be accompanied by a bad training, are a much greater misfortune. We do not learn, and what we call learning is only a process of recollection. Tyranny naturally arises out of democracy. Justice means minding one's own business and not meddling with other men's concerns. For good nurture and education implant good constitutions. Rhetoric is the art of ruling the minds of men. When the mind is thinking, it is talking to itself. Courage is a kind of salvation. Justice in the life and conduct of the state is possible only as first it resides in the hearts and souls of the citizens. Knowledge which is acquired under compulsion obtains no hold on the mind. This and no other is the root from which a tyrant springs. When he first appears, he is a protector. The God of love lives in a state of need. It is a need. It is an urge. It is a homeostatic imbalance. Like hunger and thirst, it's almost impossible to stamp out. The learning and knowledge that we have is, at the most, but little compared with that of which we are ignorant. Twice and thrice over, as they say, good is it to repeat and review what is good. He who is of calm and happy nature will hardly feel the pressure of age. But to him who is of an opposite disposition, youth and age are equally a burden. The punishment which the wise suffer who refuse to take part in the government is to live under the government of worse men, to suffer the penalty of too much haste, which is too little speed. When there is an income tax, the just man will pay more, and the unjust less on the same amount of income. One man cannot practice many arts with success.